everybody please stand and observe a moment of prayer. Thank you. This time I'd like to ask upon the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Knight.
Here.
Blackwell. Joyner.
Here.
T.J. Walker. Daltrich.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Jabaris Walker.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum present. This time I'd like to bring us to item number 4 on the agenda, which is consideration of the minutes of the regular scheduled city council meeting, which was held February 27th of 2023. At this time, I'll receive a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Joyner, seconded by Councilman Harris. Is there a need for discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Minutes are now approved. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda that we need to consider tonight or this afternoon? Is it? It's not. Okay. Any other item to perhaps consider to either add or to delete? Okay, hearing none, we'll just keep on moving. At this time, This time, I'll turn the meeting over to our city manager, Keith Rogers. Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few updates for this evening, but first I want to start by congratulating Mr. Elton Daniels, our Assistant City Manager. Over the weekend, Mr. Daniels was sworn in as President of the North Carolina City and County Management Association, so I want to send my personal congratulations. So this honor is an honor for Mr. Daniels, but also for the entire city of Rocky Mount. Also, there are several events that I wanted to highlight for us. The Rocky Mount Police Department will be giving out free firearm locks this Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Oakwood Shopping Center parking lot at Fairview. Also, coming up, the city's annual Independence Day celebration will take place from 6 to 9 p.m. on Monday, July 3rd, over at the Rocky Mount Sports Complex. And this event will feature live music, play areas, food vendors, and more. Also, of pertinent point, the fireworks is scheduled to begin at 9 p.m. Next week, the city buildings will be closed on Tuesday, July 4th in observation of the holiday, but the Sunset Park Amusement Center will be open from 1 to 7 p.m. And the Denton Street Pool will be open from 1:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Also, garbage collection will occur on normal schedule. The next Downtown Live concert happens on next Thursday, July 6th at the lawn at the Imperial Center, and the Holiday Band will take the stage at 6 p.m. And finally, for this evening, First Friday returns to Rocky Mount from 5 to 10 p.m. on July 7th in our downtown area. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for our manager? Yes, Councilman Walker.
I don't have a question, but I want to congratulate the event center, David Joyner and his staff with the Big Shots tournament. If anybody play AAU basketball, that's huge. And for Big Shots to come here, they had their 20th tournament in the city of Rocky Mount in a 4-year span. And he said over the 4-year span, they have had over 25,000 people touch the event center in that 4-year span and over, I think, 1,900 teams. So that's pretty impressive for David joining the Rocky Mount Event Center, Big Shots, because that's very huge in the United States with AAU basketball. And for them to love what we doing with the event center. So he wanted to let the mayor of the council know, keep doing what we doing, and he keep coming back. So I wanted to let everybody know that.
Thank you, sir. Yes. Any other questions for our manager or comments, perhaps?
One
Yes,
question,
sir, Councilman Knight.
in reference to, spoke with the chief and Councilman Blackwell, first one told me about a band around in the city, and that if we could do a PSA on our website in reference to that.
Okay.
People can know exactly what to do, run to take cover.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. All right, that brings us to item number 7 on our agenda, which are petitions to be received from the public. The petitions portion of the City of Council meeting is an opportunity for the public comment, and the City Council appreciates your attendance and thanks you for expressing your views and opinions. The City Council values all citizen input, and this is an opportunity to raise a question or present a request to the council. However, in most cases, council members will not respond to public comments, but they may refer a matter to the city manager or staff for follow-up. Time will be monitored in order to give everyone an opportunity to speak, and speakers will have 3 minutes. Please be aware that sign-in sheets must be presented to the security officer prior to the opening of the city council meeting. If an organized group is present to speak on a common issue, please designate one person to present the group's comments. If your comments are in regard to an item that is subject to a public hearing, please wait until that item is introduced to speak, and time will also be monitored. If your comments are in regard to an evidentiary hearing, additional time may be granted. City Council requests you please adhere to the following guidelines. Complete a sign-in sheet. Address comments to the council as a whole and not to individual council members or city staff. Speak from the podium in a civil, non-argumentative, and respectful manner. Personal attacks which have the potential to disrupt the meeting will not be tolerated, and you'll be asked to sit down or removed from the meeting. And keep comments to 3 minutes. This time,
Mayor.
I would like to invite...
Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Joyner.
I had one person that said they tried to turn in their form, but. was
And who's
not-
that? Antoinette Cutter? I already have her on the list. Thank you. So this time, I'd like to invite Dawn Page to the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Dawn Page. I'm with Concerned Black American Citizens, a nonpartisan, lineage-based organization. And we were very excited to hear about future entrepreneurs of America taking over the Rocky Mount Municipal Ball Field, and what that would mean to not only the North Carolina community, but America at large, with the reestablishment of the Negro League, a very important cultural marker and asset. In our review of the situation, however, what we found is that Article 1, Chapter 75-1 deals with antitrust violations, penalties up to $100 million, 10 years in jail. This law also allows private citizens to bring antitrust complaints, as well as a recovery of attorney fees. William Sharp, Nash County School Board member, on December 17th, in a conflict of interest, solicited a bid from the city of Rocky Mount, who then on January 10th, 2022, dropped out. At that time, on the 21st, the deed for the municipal field should have properly been conveyed to the future entrepreneurs of America. We're finding in our review potential violations of the Sherman Act, the price fixing, refusal to sell the property to future entrepreneurs of America, as well as market allocation violations, whereby we see Capital Broadcasting potentially trying to monopolize not only the entertainment, but also the farm league team situation. And we are very concerned by the vote that's upcoming, and we ask that the board, the council, look at this as an opportunity to not be made complicit with this illegal action that is being undertaken by the Nash County School Board. Dr. Ellis, Rod Malone, William Sharp are all to be held culpable for this, and we are prepared to pursue legal actions against the Nash County School Board and hopefully not the city of Rocky Mount. We feel that this is a opportunity to make things right, that we should make things right, and we should properly convey the property to future entrepreneurs of America, and that the city council should vote no today so that we have more time to investigate this particular matter and sort out the details of the timeline of events that occurred. So that is my statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's time I'd like to invite Robert Cordell to the podium.
One question,
Yes, sir. Councilman Knight?
Attorney, relating for public records about the bidding process that we asked last council meeting.
Yes, I have been through the records. While there was confusion around the middle of February in 2022, and I can understand that confusion from what was going on, but the school board reopened the bid, reopened all the bids, and the Drone and Arrington group bid. There was 6 different times they were bidding in there. They were simply outbid when it was over. I didn't see anything illegal. I mean, this lady certainly did, and the courts are available.
Can you share that with the council, please? The information that you received from the school board?
Well, I just did.
No, in writing, so we can read it and see it for ourselves, if that's.
I will provide you with what they provided me.
Thank you. Appreciate you getting that for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Councilman Knight. Any other questions? This time I'd like to, there you are. Welcome to the podium.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Robertson, City Council, and the rest of the platform personnel. As you know me, my name is Robert Cordell, and I'm from Rocky Mount, from the city on the rise, the center of it all. I have my petitions, not complete yet, it's blank copies, for the repair and replace the sauna, and to rename the East Thomas and West Thomas Street to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. The work going to start Wednesday, and I sincerely hope that I will have much more yeas and much less nays on both of these petitions, and hopefully it will be completed to be submitted to you at the next city council meeting. I'm speaking for Mr. Cleo Arrington, who's one of the plaintiffs in the pursuit of the Rocky Mount Municipal Stadium. Mr. Arrington was unable to be here because he's in surgery at Nash General Hospital. One thing about Rocky Mount Municipal Stadium, I remember that ballpark as a kid when the Rocky Mount Leafs baseball team was playing. It was about every other game, it was about 15 of us out there trying to get the balls for the foul balls. When the guy said, ball to the left, or ball to the right, or ball to the center, you had to be quick because you would have many guys running for that ball that you only going to get about 20 cents for anyway, if you were able to. The guys were quick. They would go over, under, around, and through cars just to get those baseball. And it was fun back in the day. But if any member of the Nash County School Board listening or will see the video here, Mr. Arrington is asking only one question. Why the school board cannot respond to his one question that they have a copy of sent to them many weeks ago. That's the only thing he wanted me to ask for him to the school board. Please answer his one question that he asked a long time ago. Thank you very much.
Mr. Cordell.
All right.
This time I'd like to invite Arnie Jones to the podium.
Good evening, everybody, Mayor, City Councilman, and City Mayor. I spoke last time I was here on a pay increase and hoping and wishing and praying, did a lot of thinking on it, hoping that you all as a constituent together can come up with a solution for that. And hopefully it's something that we can agree on. And you can feel like we are part of this city and you appreciate us for the hard work that we do. I asked you to move expeditiously on it, and I hope that passes that, you know. We're part of it. We're trying. We're going to do what we can do on our end, but we need it on y'all end as well to step together. And as further as we go along in the future, we should have an open communication with each other. You know, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere as far as y'all not going anywhere either. So I hope we can, in the future, and as of the present day, we can make some things happen. As a city manager, I'm asking you, just come down and talk to us. Let's get an open conversation where we can see what we can do to better each other or the city as a whole. You know, we have residents out here that needs qualified people, and which I think we are qualified people in my department. We do a great and wonderful job for the city. As we spoke at the city council meeting, you saw the compassion that the city has for us. And I hope that y'all have the same compassion for us as well. But I hope we can move expeditiously towards making this resolved and we can move on in the future. And I appreciate for y'all listening to me this evening, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Mayor,
Yes, sir. Councilman Joyner.
can the city manager respond to what the pay study will reflect or mean to the request that sanitation made?
Thank you, Councilman. The pay study is included, or the new classification and compensation structure that's been recommended by that study is on the agenda for this evening. Our recommendation has been that council approve the structure that has been developed. It has been developed it's been developed with a consultant's recommendation for market rate as well as employee input. And this structure will allow us to have the tools that we need to manage and navigate the workforce, as well as have ongoing reviews for other classifications on an annual basis.
Thank you. This time I'd like to invite Glenn Drawn to the podium.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
All right, my name is Glenn Drawn. I want to say hello to the city council, the city manager, and the mayor of Rocky Mount. My name is Glenn Drawn. I'm from Rocky Mount. I was one of the ones participating in the baseball park in Municipal Stadium. I'm one of the ones that bidded the money. Went to it, and as I was listening to the attorney about the bidding process, I have the bids right here. I was bid number 1. The city of Rocky Mount was bid number 2. I was bid number 3. When the city of Rocky Mount dropped out on the second bid, the ballpark should have gone to the entrepreneurs of America, but it didn't. The attorney from the school board held us off 29 days. That's what we need to be talking about the 29 days, not about a sliver of land that's on the deed. It's already on the deed. It's on the map. The thing we need to do is do what's right. We didn't ask the city for any money. We didn't ask the school board for any money. We put up our own money. And I feel like that the city of Rocky Mount, which I'm a citizen, been here all my life, we have a family business here. We should do the right thing. We was doing this for the kids in Rocky Mount. I had the survey done from Triangle East. He told me, he said, Mr. John, I know your father. He said that you got to promise me one thing. If you all have gospel revival tents out here, he said, I'll attend and I would donate to y'all. But what I want to say is the sliver of land, Bill Sharp, Shannon Davis, the Ellis, the superintendent, they're all lies. And I hate to call it out, but they're lying. We should have been had this ballpark. And you all know, Fred Turner signed that land over June the 14th of 1977. If anything was wrong with that land then, it should have been handled then. The other thing I want to say is this right here. Y'all need to look at the audio video from the school board. All your answers is there. All the answers is there. What I'm asking y'all to do is do what's right. We voted y'all in this seat, and I know y'all will do what's right. I want to thank all of y'all, the city council, the manager, the chief of police, for the job y'all are doing in Rocky Mount. People talk about Rocky Mount not moving forward, but we are moving forward. There's just a lot of stuff that has to be uncovered and revealed to the people. The people need to stop listening to negative stuff and read and study for themselves. I really look forward to seeing Rocky Mount continue growing. And I'm looking for the city council and the mayor and the manager and the attorney to do what's right about this ballpark.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite Crystal Weems Anderson to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
What is the one thing that we have, that we possess within ourselves, that no one can take away? And that being education. Once you have it, no one can take that away from you. So if we could spread the word or education regarding community code when it comes to commercial dwellings or entities, and how to go about ridding our neighborhoods of the nuisance. Many of the neighborhood associations are taken to the ground, and they're getting involved, working to clean up the communities, but we need your help with commercial entities. Let us not forget also that we have housing needs, not just for those that are renting, but for those that are trying to buy. We need more people that can care about our communities in our neighborhoods, such as our officers. But because we lack housing, a lot of times individuals that come to work here have to live somewhere else and then commute in. And if we have abandoned homes in our communities, then that's less people that we can get into our communities to live there, to build it up. We can't open our communities for positive growth when we have so many abandoned homes and commercial properties within our neighborhoods. So if we could spread the education, if we could do something about those commercial entities. The abandonment and slum lords are detrimental to the health of our community. And the last thing I want to plug there is I want to let the community know about testing that's being done at Ward's Pharmacy and GenMed. They're doing cognitive testing at their facilities. And sometimes if we think about it, there's something that's pretty much going on as we age. We all have memory declines. And there's a lot of things that's going on in our community, such as our codes and things that may be happening. And there may be some correlation to it. But I just wanted to make the community aware that if we don't know about it, how can you do something about it if you don't know that something's available? In addition, there is no one shoe that fits it all. If we're all on board with educating those that are around us, educating our neighbors, educating our children, educating basic members, I think we'll have a better community. We'll have a healthier, a safer community that we all can see thriving. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Adrian Copeland to the podium.
Hey there. So what I want to talk about, as I'm concerned about, is special treatment that seems to be going on in some directions and then not in some other directions. Specifically, when we're talking about item 12 on tonight's agenda, it just comes across to me like there's a lot of special treatment given to certain nonprofits like OIC that is, when you look at it, it just seems like there's a lot of the same monies going to the same nonprofits again and again. And where's the opportunity for other nonprofits to come up and bid for this money or ask for this money? So, where is it that any other nonprofit can come up and say, hey, if there's money up for grabs, why can't we get in line for that? Where do we apply for that? How do we come get that? And especially since I've heard some rumors that with the Youth Connect program, that some organizations that want to remain nameless, but they did say that, the kid, like this money was given to pay the kids, which can be great, but if the kids get paid whether they show up to work or not, we need some metrics in place to make sure that if this program is great, then the numbers should be there to be able to prove that it's great and easily produce these numbers, because, I'm all for great programs, but at the same time, let's make it a little bit more fair. Because last meeting I heard people talking about, special treatment with salaries and with employee evaluations, and it shouldn't be the same people that always get, superior marks. But then if we want the same nonprofits getting the money all the time, or if we want special rules to be bent for people to bid on properties, it's like, if we agree with the special treatment, it's good. If we don't agree with the special treatment, it's not good. And so, especially since I've tried to kind of get some phone calls in, get some meetings for some nonprofits that I represent, and I can't even get a phone call back. But some organizations get the same earmarks. I mean, line item earmarks in a budget every single year, it just seems unfair, especially with the vast property holdings that OIC has and the very cheap rent they've had. 19 cents a square foot, was it 13 cents a square foot, same rent for 50 years. That's something to think about. So we talk about things about equity, about diversity, inclusion of all groups, of all people. So, let's put that into practice. Thanks.
Thank you.
I would love to respond to that.
Please do, Mr. Blackwell.
Thank you, I will. First of all, I can't vote on it. That's why I separated out as a line item, so that we have an opportunity to recuse ourselves according to the new law. Second of all, I welcome any organization that would like to apply for funding to do good work that matches every single dollar in operations. Whatever we get from the city of Rocky Mount, OIC more than contributes. We don't take one dime, $1 for anything that goes to our operations. Secondly, I'd appreciate when allegations are made in the public square that you have some data to back that up about students not showing for classes. We're audited completely by many people. That's not true. That's a flat out lie. So, a flat out lie. We have proof of that. We got sign-up sheets, we got attendance records, we have multiple ways to prove students' attendance. Third of all, we support as a city council folks that can produce outcomes. We're more than happy to compare our outcomes with any organization in this city, including economic development entities, which never get questioned about whatever gets invested. Interesting that public comments always tend to come right back to organizations of color, and I thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. All right, that I'll ask Ms. Stephanie Halton to the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Stephanie Houtland, and I write the blog MainStreetRockyMount.com. And I'm here because I want to make a comment about the rescue fund money and the proposal to set $1 million aside for another set of plans. All of you are used to dealing with a lot of money, so $1 million is probably no never mind. But I would guess that the people sitting behind me, that $1 million is a lot of money. The rescue fund was intended for people's recovery, and the money allotted to Rocky Mount was it was like a gift under our pillow from the tooth fairy. All of a sudden, we, are given this money, which is, so great. I'm mindful, I know, that we have set, that the council has already set $3 million aside for housing and repair, and $2 million for downtown. And that's fantastic. But there is no choice here. $1 million on another set of plans, or adding this amount to preserve and restore the homes people are living in. I have a story. A few weeks ago, I was at the Happy Hill Neighborhood Association at the library. And a developer from Raleigh was there talking about plans for building in that Beale Street redevelopment area. And after the presentation was over and the questions were answered, there was an older black lady sitting a few seats from me, and she said, "What about me?" And she continued, "What about those of us who have been living here a long time? What about our housing?" Think about that. I want you to think about, before voting for this proposal, and spend this money on more plans. Spend it on exterior improvements like a new roof, a missing shutter, a broken concrete step, paint.
Thank you, Ms. Hoagland. Thank you.
Please remember that lady. What about me?
I'd like to invite Antoinette Cutler to the podium.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Antoinette Cutler, Pastor Antoinette Cutler. I am here. I only had one thing on the agenda, but I'm going to use my 3 minutes wisely. I want to say thank you to the OIC for the great work that they do in our community. The only health facility that I know that does not turn down anyone, rather than if you have insurance or not, that also reaches out to our kids for a better education and a better way of living. Thank you. I also want to say to the public workers, thank you, city manager, who have looked over that, and today that it is coming up. I also stand for the Rocky Mount Ballpark. The last time I was here, I heard it, some come up and speak about it, and I got very interested, because two wrongs don't make a right, but it can take one right to make it right. And I feel like on today that the wrong needs to be made right. So our city need to do what's right towards this ballpark. Thank you.
Thank you. This brings us to item number 8 on our agenda, which is the consent agenda. I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as written. But there were no changes tonight. Is there a motion? A motion made by Councilman T.J. Walker. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Richard Joyner. Is there a need for discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Brings us to item number 9, which is consideration of the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget ordinances and amendments to fees and charges. Fiscal year 2024 budget ordinances establishes appropriations and sets the city property tax rate at .685 per hundred of taxable assessed value, and same tax rate as current fiscal year. The amendments to fees and charges, Department of Public Works, the solid waste transfer station tipping fee increases tipping fees to accommodate a 2.5% increase in solid waste disposed and contract fee. And then item number 2 on that is the Department of Water Resources increases the rates by 7.5% for water services and 8.5% for sewer services to increase revenue for operational and capital expenditures in accordance with the recommendation of the cost of service analysis. And then increases the rate on the water and sewer wholesale rates by 7.5% for water service and 8.5% for sewer service. The increase the revenue for operational capital expenditures in accordance with recommendations of the cost of service analysis. Is there a motion to adopt?
Mayor, I would like to amend that the recommendation coming for the council to approve or to adopt the fiscal year 2023-24 budget ordinance. And I would like to amend that to include effectively July 1st, that 15% increase for our public works and parks and recreation, and a 6% cost of living across the board for all full-time employees except the police department, because they have already received a substantiating amount of increase in their salary. I would like to amend that to include that in the budget at this time.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. So we're asking for the, budget ordinance. Do you have that? Would you repeat that? Because I didn't write all that down. Did you have it written down?
15% for public works and parks and recreation, 6% cost of living increase across the board for all full-time employees except the police department, who has already received a substantiating amount of increase in their salaries.
Okay, I have a motion, I guess is restated, to include, in addition to what was read, 15% public works increase along with Parks and Rec, 6% cost of living across the board with the exception of the police department. I have a second. Is there a need for discussion?
Yes, sir.
Councilman Daughtridge.
First of all, what is the impact on the budget for that? Is it an increase or decrease? I didn't write down the percentages, but I think the percentages are actually less than what we had. I don't have the PowerPoint in front of me, so actually we would be doing an injustice to the folks that work here based on what the presentation, if I recall it correctly. So I'm questioning why we would go backwards instead of moving forward with the pay plan. And then my other question, this is to the attorney, I guess, is would we vote on these separate or together? I need some clarity on that.
Given that motion, I think maybe you want to vote on them separately.
And I guess I want my answer, city manager, based on my knowledge and recollection, this would be moving backwards for our employees instead of moving forward financially. Am I correct, partially correct, or totally wrong?
I believe you are correct, Councilman. The proposed budget includes funding to support the increases that we have recommended in the classification and compensation study. Those ranges for those increases for several of our employees range all the way up to around 36%. In addition, the fiscal impact of what is proposed, just doing some quick estimates for public works, would be about an additional $1.3 million. Also, for a 6% cost of living increase would be about another $1.3 million in addition to what we've proposed.
To clarify, I think both of you are wrong. We're not moving backwards with our employees. we are moving forward. Because in the pay comp study, which we didn't get a full copy of the study, we only got slides of the study. We don't know who's getting what. Also, those who have been here 10, 15, and 20 years will not receive anything with the pay and comp study. And if I was an employee, I'd be mad as heck if I come to work every day, put in the sweat, on time, going above the call of duty, and receive nothing. Just about most of the cities in North Carolina, when we go to the league, has given their employees a cost of a living increase. Secondly, there was very few of us who questioned the 36% increase. And it's not a slap in the face to our officers, because they deserve it. We didn't question the budget. You didn't question the impact. You didn't question how it's going to get paid and how we're going to do it. You majority just agreed to it and got a call a day before saying it was going to happen. And all of us, all 8 of us, including the mayor, had some questions about the 30% increase, but it was a bold move. When our city manager came here, in the newspaper it says, I'm going to spend 100 days of listening to employees and listening. Who are you listening to? Secondly, some has met with our manager and some have not and have requested that. And what I'm saying to us today, we value all our employees. In the pay comp study, we have 3 categories. You have the police, fire, and energy resources. Then you have general. So you group everybody up in this general chart. So in those 3, you have separate how you calculate their pay, which is much higher than those that are in the general. But it takes the general folks, the fire, the police, the linemen to run this city. And I'm asking that we give all our employees who do not get the maximum 5% in the comp and pay study. Some might get 2%, some might get 3%. Some employees don't get anything. But they deserve something. And then when we get to the pay comp study, we got to figure out how we're going to fix the compression. Because you're going to have employees who's going to be mad as fire. For those who's coming in, is we're going to be making the same. We got to figure out how we're going to move them up the ladder. And some been here 20 years and have not got to their midpoint. So they're not going to get to their maximum. And so what I'm saying, and I'm going to say the last thing, and the reason why I pulled out sanitation and public works, they are very vital. All of you all are vital. But they pick up this trash and get in these ditches. And when they get a call in Counterwood or Happy Hill, they pick the trash up. No matter what they dump in there. Dead, anything or whatever, but they do it with dignity and respect. If we can spend $1 million, we can take that $1 million on those plans, give it to the employees. Another $1 million somewhere else and give it to the employees. But we can do it. But don't let's walk away here, some get some and some get nothing. I disagree with that. And those departments have been slighted for so long. As the gentleman said, let's do right. Let's do right by them.
Thank you, Councilman Knight. Anybody else have any questions or comments? As I understand, we're voting on the amendment that includes the increases. We vote that up or down. Then we have an opportunity to entertain, assuming, well, unless that passes, right? Then we have an opportunity to.
Yes, you're going to have to adopt a balanced budget.
That's
You
right.
know, so you may want to hear from Mr. Hunter on that question.
Okay, great.
Well,
Hang on, I see you, Councilman. But Councilman Walker actually had his hand up. If you don't mind, then I'll recognize you. Okay, Black.
My sound is great, so either I can talk in the mic and everybody can hear, I just try to speak loudly. Okay. So my question, really, I support the concept of adding 15% to the bottom line for the public works employees who have the dirtiest work to do in this city and continue to be rated as the least important. I have to say that attached the value to the dollar. And to say that we are reaching North Carolina's minimum or living wage, and I question that living wage is about $17 an hour. So if we'd like some clarity related to going forwards or backwards, I'd like to know how does the pay and compensation affect the public works and parks and rec employees specifically? Because I cannot discern from our conversations whether or not people will receive an across the board increase. So I'd like to ask the manager to help clarify that. And what's the process? Because when we did make the bold and correct movement to compensate our police and the discussion about compensation prior, I don't know if that clearly delineated as the police raise was, but it was clear what we were doing. Everybody knew what the requirements were, and it was across the board for everyone. So that was a very clear, direct, strategic, which I appreciate. I also would appreciate that very clear, direct, strategic move to let those folks know that have the dirtiest job in this city, that we value you whether it's hot or cold or in between, to have our trash not picked up and not picked up properly, to have ditches not cleaned out means we'll be flooded, you know, to have people on call at all times of day and night is something that we should value. And just as our pay adjustment took the Rocky Mount Police Department to the top of the heap, I'm saying let's do that for our public works employees too. So however it fits within the budget, how to balance it, yeah, I agree, Ken and Keith, y'all got some calculations to make. You know, I'm sure we'll figure out how to do it. But I do want to say, you know, to that comment about equity, that it takes everybody doing a good job to keep us all in a good position, and we should value everybody, in my opinion.
Councilman Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. I believe, and I don't want to just keep sort of, I guess it can confuse the public about what's going on. The actual police increase that we received was received due to the 40 plus vacancies they had, which also entailed that they had the capacity internally within their department to pay for those vacancies. And so that increase came from a managerial decision that he presented to all of us, where we saw the funding was actually there because of the vacancies that they had. So it wasn't as if we were pulling money from another sector of the city. Secondly, I think this pay and comp study plan has been presented by our manager and his staff. And the issue we're seeing is we're trying to fill in potholes now with departments because we haven't approved a pay and comp study. We've had two managers that have presented and we haven't approved. And I think in order for us to really fix this problem, the real problem of the gaps of workers not being valued via pay, is because we haven't approved the pay study. And so I'm hoping we can approve the study as is. The manager and staff can go in and make adjustments. And I believe the manager spoke to all of us concerning adjustments that can be made after the study is in place. But if we don't have a foundation laid for our staff, we're going to continue to have to try to find money for departments year in, year out. So I think we need to take the managerial direction of the manager, approve the study that is being presented as is being presented, and looking at the pay grades here, it puts a foundation in place so that we can grow on it. And if there needs to be any adjustments as far as the compression, if there's an individual that's worked 20 years, if there's someone that's just coming in, the manager and his staff can go in after the fact once this is approved and do it. But without this, we can't, and we'll continue to pull, as Councilman Knight said, $1 million from here, $1 million from there, that will also in turn, as we will see, coming up in just a few months when it's time to fund projects that we also are very passionate about. It's going to put us in a position where we're going to say, where's that money coming from? And so my suggestion is that we follow the direction of our manager. We haven't done that. I'm not a manager. I'm not in his seat, not in her seat. And as far as the council, we provide the direction. We've done that for our manager. They've gone and done the work needed to be done. They presented us what we need to have presented. And I think if we allow them to do their job and do it in the way that they see it, it will still make everyone happy at the end of the day. But I don't want us jumping the gun, shooting ourselves in the foot, shooting employees in the foot, and they think they're getting a raise that is maybe shorter or decreasing of what's already presented. And so let's approve the study. My recommendation, approve the pay and comp study as it is presented and allow staff, since we still give them that direction, allow them to go in after the grades have been set so that fundamentally we make sure it's right. If we keep going to different departments and saying, okay, we're going to give you a raise. Now, it's not solving the issue about what happens 20 years from now. That's why we're going back now and trying to say, well, we got somebody that's working 20 years and someone new coming in making the same money, because we've not yet approved and set the standard of what we need to do for the pay and comp study. All I'm asking us to do is to approve it as it is, present it, and allow staff to go back and make the necessary adjustments.
Thank you, Councilman Walker. I'll recognize Councilman Harris and then Councilman Joyner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Manager Rogers, got a couple of questions first. There's a lot going through my mind right now. What agenda item is it specifically where we approve the recommended budget for 23-24?
So that's agenda item 9. Further on the agenda item 10 is the classification and compensation structure.
Thank you for that. I was going to wait till item 10, but I'm going to piggyback what Mayor Pro Tem Walker just said. We need to fully implement the new comp plan. Department heads, supervisors, and by the way, Manager Rogers, have employees seen the results of the comp plan?
No, the department heads received the spreadsheet last week. We have deliberately not sent the pay range to the employees because there are specific impacts. So following to the council's pleasure this evening, all employees will receive a letter with their updated job, title, description, as well as where they fall in the new pay plan. So that was deliberate because these are very individual impacts for each employee.
Thanks for that clarification. You mentioned that during several budget work sessions. My last comment during the first budget work session, Manager Rogers said that once we implement this comp plan, and as Mayor Pro Tem Walker just said, let's let it go out. I know the department heads through HR, through Manager Rogers, they will meet with the employees, they will assess the feedback, and Manager Rogers said in the first budget work session, if there are any adjustments that have to be made, then this flexible comp plan will enable such adjustments to be made subject to the information coming to the council with proper approval. But I got to remind the council, June 30th is when we have got to finalize the budget. That's all I say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Harris. Councilman Joyner? And then I'll recognize you.
Yes, we're dealing with a trust. Can the city workers trust us? That when we approve and not approve, that there are going to be some that going to be caught up in this process. Can they trust us to go back in and make those necessary adjustments to do right by them? Or do we need to do it here because they can't trust us? And that's the process. And that's what we're facing. Can they trust us to do right by them? And have we done right by them up until this point? We said that we're going to sit down with them and talk with them and listen to them. Have we done that as leadership? Have we as the city council received the study to take a look at it so we can make sure that we know what we're voting on? This is about trust. If they can trust us to approve it and do right by them, or do we need to do something across the board for everybody because they don't trust us? That's where we are. It's literally about trust.
Thank you, Councilman Joyner. Councilman Knight?
Spike Lee had a quote, "Do the right thing," back in the 90s. Yes, I'm old to some, but do the right thing. I didn't say not to approve the comp and pay study. That's 10. We're on 9. I asked that we amend the budget, that we give those departments who have been slighted a 15% increase, Parks and Rec and Public Works. Also, give our employees a cost of a living increase of 6%. For those who are in the pay comp study who will get maybe 5%, 6%, 12%. But if they don't get a max of 5%, then they would get the 6% cost of living. But if you get above this 5%, then no. So that means that all of our employees will be receiving something with the cost of living increase. That's what I stated, and we're on number 9. And with the funding, the manager, once the budget has been approved, can move money around in the budget. So if we had I'm just throwing a number out, $8 million surplus in the police department, that could have been moved around for other departments. We've never been fully staffed. So again, council members, we're on number 9 about the budget. I asked for a budget amendment. I made a motion. It was second. We either voted up or down. And then we moved to item number 10. And then it would bring another discussion. So don't confuse the two. I did not say for us not to approve the pay comp study. I asked for those 15% increase and the 6% for our other employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Knight. Now I'll recognize Councilman Daughtridge.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to make it clear to this audience, plus any folks that are listening, I think this entire council, the entire management values each and every person that works for the city of Rocky Mount, in addition to each and every department within the city of Rocky Mount, because without each person, nothing could be done in this city that's required this city to do. So I'll make it clear that this council person, I believe every council person up here, values each one of you. But I'd like to also echo what Councilman T.J. Walker, Mayor Pro Tem, and Councilman Harris said. We have a budget that we need to approve because it needs, as previously stated, June 30th, we have to have a balanced budget. And I'm not in favor of this amendment because in my meetings, most folks are going to see what I would consider a significant increase coming from private business, from a small business, quite frankly, here in downtown Rocky Mount, may I add. We don't look at these kind of increases because it's not feasible. But we, again, I'll echo, we have not had a pay plan or a compensation study. We've had them, but they have not been instituted because they have not even come before the city council. We need to do something, and I think we need to start here. It does not mean that we can't go back and reassess, and I think it would be prudent for us to start here. We have a $93 million general fund budget, and for a total budget of $258 million. And to go at the last minute to go and make amendments like this is not, is difficult to do. And yes, we do have vacancies, and I don't, Mr. Manager, what was the, and you might not be able to answer it right now, but what was the approximate impact when for the beginning salaries for the police officers that was put in place a month or two ago?
It was about, I believe, between 300,000 and 400,000.
Okay, thank you. So I'm in favor of going on with number 9 as been presented here in our agenda. On number 10, I'll speak towards that later if I have to. We should institute that, and I think, again, exactly what Mayor Pro Tem said is exactly what needs to happen. And I support what Councilman Harris and Mayor Pro Tem each have said. And I'd like to call the question.
Well, I have a comment.
Question's been called.
Yeah, it's been called,
Yes.
but we ain't finished. Okay, thank you.
So,
I want to just,
Yeah, it's going to take a 5 seconds to close the debate.
Okay.
so, the debate, I just got a point.
I know, but I've got 3 more hands down there and 3 more hands down here. So the closed debate, so let's just vote on it by hands. All those in favor of calling the question now, please show your hand. In favor of. Okay, we have 4. Please continue, Mr. Blackwell.
Thank you. Number 1, it is not true that people have not received increases because there's not been a pay plan adopted. That's just not true. That's up to the individual manager, given ranges for their employees, and it's up to the commensurate command that they report to. So I want to correct that statement in the public square. There has not been a pay plan adopted. All the pay plan does is set ranges. It does not determine individual compensation for any position. That is done on a one-on-one basis with individuals as they go through their regular review process. Number 2, the only reason we're even having this conversation is because during the number of budget sessions that we've had, several of us, and not all of us, have asked questions related to those 2 departments in particular and have not received clarity in the response. It would be nice to know, are the public works employees trash, ditch, folks who dig ditches? I don't know what your positions are. I'm sorry, I don't know the titles. But the people who do the hard, sweaty work, are they guaranteed more than a 15% increase in this budget? That's my question.
Again, Councilman, we intentionally did not individualize these types of comments because Public Works and our Parks and Recreation Department within their various divisions have a number of different titles, a number of different job duties, so we intentionally did not generalize. So I can't answer whether all of those employees will receive at least a 15% increase. What I can tell you from glancing at the spreadsheet is within those divisions, there are employees that if this plan that is presented is approved, will receive more than a 15% increase. But again, I think that the premise of this classification and compensation structure is similar to what you were saying. This is a tool for us to be able to advance the workforce. At present, we cannot continue to separate and fund cost of living increases for some employees and not others. We need a new structure that allows us to accommodate the workforce that we have in 2023 and also allow us the tool to deal with the ongoing movement going forward. So that's the proposal that is before the council. We have about 1,000 employees and 500 employees will receive increases just from the simply adopting the new structure. Additionally, it is important for us to be grateful that we have the funding, which is about $3.2 million, to be able to fund the increases just by adopting this new structure. As the new manager, I would love to have come to council with a cost of living increase so that there could be a little something for all employees. But the current structure that we have does not even allow us to be able to accommodate such. So we are asking that council approve the budget with the $3.2 million for the increases that we have proposed for those employees. And then moving on to item number 10, since we're discussing that during this session, to approve the classification and compensation structure as presented, which provides us the best tool that we can have at the current time to address the concerns of our employees, not only now, but going forward.
Yes, Councilman Harris, then Councilman Walker, Councilman Knight, and then.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, again. First of all employees are valuable. Enough's been said about how we all value what you do at the city of Rocky Mount. All my life, 3 principles I tried to honor: integrity, honesty, and trustworthiness. Nobody should question those 3 of my principles. Go out through all my career, you wouldn't find any exception. I'm going on record right now with the manager, with Mr. Hunter and others in key positions. If we need to adjust compensation as after we adopt the budget and go into the new year, I promise you that I would do all I can to make such things happen. I'm one vote, so I can't 100% guarantee it, but based on my reputation, based on my principles, I trust what we are going to be doing at the city of Rocky Mount. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Walker?
Appreciate it, Mayor. And again, for our budget, the way it is, I'm all for paying, any department. I've got personal family members in Parks and Rec and sanitation and multiple departments with the city. Again, what I want to make clear is the process of, and we talk a lot about process as we sit up here. I can vividly recall a lot of things that I personally tried to get us to do, but there was process. What I'm saying is for us to take this opportunity now, and again, it stems off of the police raise. The police raise was an internal budget action that where they had the funding within their own department to make that happen. It wasn't a case like this where we're looking to look in the city's budget and find funding for a department. What I'm asking is, the reason I said item 10 for pay and comp study, so that we set the grades right, so that when we do look at what's paid, people have an opportunity to make sure they progress and not just are paid whatever the increase we're asking right now. It's not just a temporary fix for today. We really want to make sure we're positioning people within the department to go where they want to go. They haven't been able to do that. I remember 4 years ago, we're talking about sitting with departments. I went and sat with multiple departments, and this is what we heard. This was 4 years ago. 4 years later, we still have not yet set the proper grade and comp study we need to set so that these budget items, as we're looking at item 9 on the budget, so that we're not having this conversation again next year. I appreciate the work, and I don't want it to get twisted as if, oh, well, he doesn't support it. No, it's not that. The process we have, if we have every department coming down telling us, we're going to pay them this, we're going to pay them that, how do we really feel like we're going to handle that as a council? And before it's long, we'll start looking at each other. We need to do this, we need to do that. And it's not feasibly possible to do it. And we're going to be at odds saying that we need to do this and need to do that by something that was created out of the wrong intent, first of all, because the police department never got a 30% raise out of city budget. That was from their internal budget. I think we're getting that incorrect, that money came from a place where it didn't come from. That came out of their own inter-departmental budget. And moving forward, again, like I said, once the pay and comp study is set in place, once we amend that, and it is item 10, but once that is done, once that is set, we can go back because of the structure that we have to make those adjustments to individual employees and fix each individual issue. We haven't done that, obviously. If we've done that years ago, we wouldn't be having a conversation. If it was so easy to go in individually, say, okay, we'll see what's going on. Why hasn't it been done? Why haven't we done it? So now we're at a place where I'm saying, let's get it right so that we can do what we need to do. And let's not have this conversation of confusing people in the public, saying who's saying this wrong, who's saying that wrong. Let the manager and the staff do what they have to do with the council. We can go and make any adjustments after, again, as said, we have the power to make those adjustments. Let's give the direction after this is said. We're asking for an increase to be made that's already, and you said, how can we ask for something if we saying we ain't even seen the pay study to know if they have it? We saying we want a 15%. What are they getting, a 20%? Now you done killed them 5. Let's allow the documentation, the work that needs to be done. Let's let that pass. This staff can trust us. They haven't been able to trust leadership in the past. This staff can trust us. They haven't been able to do it, but you have to show them, you got to prove and show that this will work. They haven't seen that. They've heard a lot of conversation, a lot of talk about what's been. 4 years ago, I sat with them, I heard them. They've heard a lot about what we're going to do, this, we're going to do that, but it hasn't been done. What I'm saying is now let's do what needs to be done. We talk about doing what's right. Do what needs to be done. The manager can go back and make individual adjustments. Sanitation, y'all going to be taken care of. And that's my word. Y'all will be fine. Haven't had the opportunity of anybody to do this before because, like you said, it's been constant talk about it getting done. Let's let it happen.
Thank you, Councilman. I'll recognize Councilman Knight now.
We talked about process, Mayor Pro Tem. The manager didn't follow the process. If you want to take it there. The last 20 years or plus, we've been fighting like heck to get those workers who have been slighted pay increases. But the managers always say, trust, and it never gets done. Talk to the people, talk to the employees. They will tell you, if you hold a town hall meeting tonight, they will tell you that they're not pleased. Some are afraid because of retaliation. You keep talking about the police budget. It's all the city money. This is some secret money out there somewhere I don't know nothing about. Also, I don't have a problem paying any of our employees because when our manager came, you all, majority of you, asked to give him a $75,000 increase. And we did. These guys asking for some money too. And girls, young ladies, don't be disrespectful. Talking about experience and time, we have had more many a city manager had more experience and time is not making what our current city manager making now. And I'm not ashamed to say that. We pay it till you earn it. But what about these guys and these young ladies? We got the power as a council to approve the budget. We also got the power to have a special call meeting if staff need to go back and tweak the budget before June 30th. If we really want to know, ask the employees about the comp pay study. Have they seen it? And maybe some department heads, they would tell you no. And you ain't seen it because I ain't seen it. I don't have no document other than the slides. You don't have the full presentation of it, do you? Do anybody have the full presentation on this council of the comp pay study? I can't hear nobody. Do you have it, Councilmember Harris? You have the full.
I have what was emailed to you by Keith Rogers.
That's not the full thing of the comp pay study?
I said I have.
Okay, thank you.
What?
Have you,
Manager
Councilmember
Rogers
Walker?
said.
Do you have the full? It's yes or no.
I have it because I asked for it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this time I'll recognize Councilman Joyner.
I mean, have you not received it? I mean, did you not attend the meeting?
Ask the other council members that.
Gentlemen, I'm recognizing Councilman Joyner. Councilman Blackwell, you're next.
So, we know that there are gonna be some shortfalls, city manager. Can you talk a little bit about how you're going to approach those and how you would meet with those individuals that would not meet that desired range that we want them to meet, and how you and your staff will help move that in the right direction? Can you talk about how you can do that and how you're gonna take care of the workers, that they won't have to come looking for us, we'll go looking for them? Can you share that?
I'm gonna try to answer your question, Councilman. I can't say sitting here what the issues will be because we have not implemented the new classification structure, so the employees do not know what the impact is. We've said that on multiple occasions that we need this to be approved for us to communicate the individual and specific impacts to the workforce. I continue to say that I do not want to sit here and generalize because these are individual impacts. My generalization is that over half the employees will receive an increase simply from adoption of the classification and compensation structure. Again, this new structure is the foundation for us to move forward in a way that we can ensure that we are doing what we can to be leading in the market for compensation. Additionally, the new structure, not only does it provide additional funding for some positions, but it also increases career ladders, and it also allows us the flexibility to do ongoing market analysis for more specific positions. So again, this is the tool for us to be able to address those concerns. And yes, it is our responsibility to be able to address those items. So I have full confidence in item number 10, which is the classification and compensation structure that we have proposed to the council tonight, as well as item number 9 that contains the funding to support implementation. And the funding will move to the minimum for those employees that will receive a change in their position under this new structure.
So at that time, would they go directly, those that don't get what they believe they should get, is the process to their managers, then to you, or how would that process work?
Well, again, Councilman, it's just difficult for me to say what they believe they should get. I think we need to get the structure in place and let them see what we have first, and then we can go from there. But absolutely, there is a process by which we can go to so that their voices or any concerns about that can be heard. Absolutely.
Walker, in those meetings almost 4 years ago, and that same question was voiced to us then. That same question is being voiced to us now, and the people that voiced those questions to us do have right not to trust us, and we must prove now that we are trustworthy as we go forward.
Thank you, Councilman Joyner. This time I recognize Councilman Blackwell.
Thank you. I just, want to set the stage in a different kind of way. Y'all, this is what democracy looks like. This is what it looks like. We are doing what we have been called to do in the context that the General Assembly has given us the ability to do this. So everything we're talking about and doing, everybody loves to hold hands and skip down to the finish line together. It doesn't happen that way. And it's interesting to me that in Rocky Mount, we love to talk about unity, but y'all ain't saying that about the General Assembly. You sure aren't saying about Congress. So what works for one council or one body can work for everybody. So we got a right to have an opinion, whether it differs or whether it's the same. The second thing is that I am delighted, my brother, Mayor Pro Tem, in the confidence you have that sanitation workers will walk away very pleased. You put your word on it, you put your name on it. So that means you have information and a level of confidence in our leadership that that entire department will be taken care of. Is that what I heard? That's it. That's what he. So you got something I don't have. So I'm happy about that. I hope that I'll be able to have that level of transfer of confidence, and as Councilman Joyner stated, to have trust in the process. I look at what the past has done, and I look at current situations, so I'm waiting to be pleasantly surprised. I'm very happy, that we would be able to move forward in a manner that would please everyone. I care about the net result. The net result that I do care about is that the people who have been intentionally overlooked. I remember there was a time when we were taking air conditioners out of trucks. Do y'all remember that? We were taking air conditioners out of trucks for garbage workers. I was here, and that stopped under this council's watch. I remember that. And you cannot tell me that that same attitude is all of a sudden disappeared and dissipated. It has to be worked on. It has to be measured. It has to be pushed. It has to be demanded. Frederick Douglass says that without a demand, nothing changes. So the demand that I ask with my one vote, Tom, is that we have good words. Let's see what we have. Good intentions that follow through on good paychecks that come out. So I'm still supporting the amendment, but I support the budget as it is. I just want more allocated and to folks who have been overlooked historically, intentionally. The industry has been undervalued, and let trash stop being picked up for 2 weeks and see what happens. Let that happen. Let that happen for 2 weeks and see how people feel about how much you get paid. And see who's going to jump out there and follow and pick up what you didn't get. So I'm okay. I'm 100% okay with however we move forward.
Thank you.
One question, Mayor.
Councilman Knight.
Is it a 20%, 27% in the comp study, pay study, or in the budget for fire department? Could someone explain that to me? That's what I'm hearing.
What was included in the budget letter is we had a commentary regarding the specific position of firefighter EMT 1, and the average for that specific position is approximately 55,000. So I'm not sure what that percentage increase is, but that was in the manager's letter to the council just to provide a context.
And Mayor, I want to say this to this council. And I'm not, the data, look at the makeup of these departments, and people can say, I pulled any kind of card that you want to. Look at where most of our money are being spent in these departments, and then look at your workers. Look at your sanitation and your public works. It's almost 99% African Americans in your parts. And then you look at your other departments. And when we take departments and single them out, and then you group everybody else together, and then you trust us, and we look at American history, you trust the system. Look at Congress, look at what has happened in the past and in the future, looking forward, where rights are being rolled back. Do you trust the system? That's what I'm asked. And I hope that we pray in our hearts today that we can do this council can make a bold move in supporting the amendment. I don't know if we're going to get the votes or not, but can we do that as a council? And then have our staff go back and make it work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor,
yes,
just one.
Councilman Joyner.
I want to say that what we did for the police and what we did for fire, it was not our intent to make everybody feel like we slighted them. But intent and impact is not the same. It wasn't our intent, but it sure had the impact. And what we're trying to do is change that impact.
Thank you. Councilman Thompson.
Just clarify, Councilman Jordan, it was police only, I believe. Fire was not included, I don't think.
So I think we're at the point for a vote. I think we are. Councilman Knight, would you be comfortable if we voted this as separate, the amendment separate from the actual, what's written?
Well, it's a motion on the floor.
It is, and that's why I was asking you,
Yes.
since you made it, if you would be comfortable amending that. If not, that's fine too.
No, the motion is as
Okay.
it stands.
So what we're voting on here now is item number 9 as written, plus the amendment, which was the 15% increase for Public Works and Parks and Rec, 6% cost of living across the board. That amendment is what we're voting on, up or down, is my understanding.
Yes, let's vote on the amendment, and then we'll need a motion on the budget. He sort of made an amendment without having a motion on the floor.
Okay.
So we got
Does that work for you, Councilman Knight?
Well, I want that to be in the budget, so we can't vote on the budget and then put it in the budget.
That's fine. We can vote it, and then we can also, if
Yeah, let's
if it
just count
fails,
that as the motion.
As the motion,
That's
yes.
the motion, because we called it an amendment, but really.
He made a motion. It was seconded by Councilman Blackwell. We've had honest debate on it, so.
So, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I need
Councilman Fox.
clarity on what we're getting ready to vote for.
We are voting on it.
So if we vote for number 9, including the amendment, and it is voted up, then
That
nothing
includes the
moves.
15% increase.
Then nothing goes on, we don't go back to number 9, but if it's not voted, if it's voted down, then we go back to number 9 as presented in the agenda.
That is an option for somebody to make a motion and present, yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly.
That is my understanding as well.
Thank you.
All right, so is everybody clear?
You're voting on Mr. Knight's motion, seconded by Councilman.
That's right, which is item 9 as written, plus the increases that we've been discussing.
Plus,
Right.
that's right.
Sorry, I'll get plus. I like that, the shortcut, and plus. Item 9 plus, all right,
Mayor,
so,
Well, we
yes.
voted, I wanted to make another motion, but we're voting on this now.
Yes, let's vote on this one, up or down, and then if what's necessary after that, we can discuss. So all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, like sign. Let's, I know, but that's a 4 vote, right? You can, but, All right, so I believe, unless I'm wrong, it's a 4-3 vote down. Correct? All right. Councilman Walker.
I make a motion, we approve budget as is, and we direct staff to go back after the budget is approved to see what changes need to be made according to Councilman Knight's direction of Parks and Rec and Sanitation. We make a direct impact look at, from a council standpoint, of directing our staff to look at those changes after the budget has been adopted.
And
Because it may or may not be more than the 15 or 6%, but we need to look at that.
I have a motion, I have a second by Councilman Joyner. I'm hearing you, Councilman Daughtry. Would you like the floor?
yes, sir, I think, I assume Mayor Pro Tem is saying after a period of time, after it's presented to the staff and staff has an opportunity to digest what is presented to them. Do I understand that correctly, or am I?
After we approve this, I mean, it can be as simple as after it's approved on the 30th, but we need to give the direction to our manager and our staff to look at the departments. Councilman Knight is directing particularly, which is sanitation and parks and rec. I think he's but sanitation and parks and rec, because they've been voicing their concerns, and we need to look and see if it may be more than 6% or 15%, but we need to know exactly what it can be. Then we can provide the direction as a council as stated to make those adjustments.
And also those employees who would not be getting anything.
Okay, well, the motion on the floor has been seconded is this, is item 9 plus a requirement that the manager identify any changes to be made in conjunction with the pay studies relative to the discussion that we've had tonight with a report to council. And I think that the underscore there, Councilman Knight, is that would include anybody who doesn't get an increase would be part of that conversation.
And I think after the budget is adopted, we should see those changes in about 90 days or less for our staff. That should give them time so that we don't increasingly increase their workload, but it gives them time to take a look at it within that 90-day period. I think everything should be in effect by then.
So the motion is now amended to the manager to identify any changes to be made relative to the pay study or relative to the budget based on the conversation we've had tonight with a report to council no later than 90 days from its enacted. All right?
Yes, that's the motion.
That's the motion. Do I have that second again?
Yes, you have that
Councilman
second
Joyner,
again.
Did you want the floor, Councilman Joyner? All right.
For the question.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
No.
Okay. So the ayes have it. Item number 10 is the consideration of resolution amending the classification and compensation plan. Looking for a motion to adopt.
Can we move that out?
I'm sorry, I have a motion on the floor, Councilman Knight, and I have not recognized you yet, but I will.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Now, Councilman Knight, you have the floor.
In the comp study, we have positions that are in there that are a new position. Can the manager tell us what those new positions are? Because all new positions are approved by council according to section 16-47. In previous years, we have had managers to put in created new jobs, new positions, and council not aware. So I think it was two new jobs under HR. Is that correct? That's in the budget comp study.
So, Councilman, this is an entirely new classification and compensation structure. Every position that exists citywide is what is attached to that ordinance. There are a number of new positions. Many of them are simply to add to our career ladder. So adding a 3 or 4 to positions that previously had a 1 or 2. So there is funding for 2 additional positions in HR. Those are not necessarily new titles, but that's why we provided a list, because this is an entirely new plan than we've had in the past. So every single position that exists is listed in there, in the ordinance that is item number 10.
Right, but I'm asking, can you pull that out? This is a JEP question. Because the authority to establish new classification of position is vested in the city council. The city council will consider a recommendation of the city manager and determine the need for a new classification of positions.
Councilman, I have a motion on the floor, though, to accept it as written with a second. Okay, but I just want to frame that discussion.
That's a JEP question.
You can do that with this motion, approving, but because you've got them in front of you. You'll be approving the positions.
But I'm just, what new positions are they? Do you know?
I do not, I'm sorry.
Oh, do anyone else know? That's a question. Do you know, Mayor?
I'm not aware.
Okay. So, okay, rest my case.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? Have a motion to accept the compensation?
Mayor,
Yes,
is that-
I'm sorry, Councilman Walker.
Councilman, are you referring to the 10 positions added to the career letter or some different position? Because I'm just asking for clarity, other position.
I'm referring to section 1648. The authority to establish new classification of positions is vested in the city council. The city council will consider a recommendation of the city manager and determine the needs for a new classification of position. I asked if there were any new position classification. What are they? Are we adding any new, not changing the job titles? No one knows. You can move on, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask one?
Yes, sir, Councilman Joyner.
When those job titles are identified, can we get an update on them?
There's no need if you approve it.
Can you provide a list, Mr. Manager?
I'm happy to provide any information, but again, this is an entirely new plan, so all of the positions are before you, but this is an entirely new plan. Some of the titles have been revised. There are a number of things that have been updated related to the classification and compensation study, but every single position, as required by city code, is before council this evening, and we're asking for council's pleasure on that. So everything that exists is within there.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
No.
My motion carries. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize the State Treasurer, Dale Falwell. Thank you for coming, sir. Brings us to item number 11 on our agenda, which is consideration of the adoption of the following fiscal year 2023-24 ordinances. It's the Community Development Project Ordinance, the Community Development Block Grant for $556,901, the Home Investment Partnership Grant for $514,399. Then the Charter River Transit Grants include the Urban Operating for $1,770,000, Urban Capital $1,572,174, Transit Planning at $53,950, Rural Operating at $3,068,470, Rural Capital at $1,250,900, and the Rural Feeder at $250,000. Is there a motion to accept these ordinances?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Harris.
Second, but can we talked about some of us serving on some of those boards.
Yes, we can add that, but can we do that in a later meeting when we go over maybe the next committee of the whole? I believe our clerk has positioned some of these for discussion. Oh, is there a conflict of interest? Okay. No.
But is that a covered board or that falls under the conflict? Because if it's, my understanding is if it's a state board that we serve on, then there's not a conflict. Am I incorrect?
That's correct. That's correct. I mean, state boards are not covered like it's not a nonprofit if it's set up by the state.
So having no conflict, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. That brings us to item number 12, is consideration of the resolution allocating fiscal year 2023-2024 appropriations for the following activities administered by the Opportunities Industrial Center. That's a $75,000 support youth Connect program and $100,000 to support construction trades. Is there a motion?
Second.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Joyner, seconded by Councilman Daughtridge, with a close second by Councilman Harris. Is there a need for discussion? I'm sorry, Walker. Is there a need for discussion?
Just that, I'm recusing myself from voting on this matter.
Okay.
File recusal statements.
Thank you, gentlemen. All those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 13 is consideration of the sealed bids received for 406 Beale Street. The high bid was $35,550 by AU Estate Services Incorporated. Looking for a motion to accept the bid as written and presented to. Motion made by Councilman Walker, seconded by Councilman Joyner. Is there a need for discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 14 is consideration of a quitclaim deed for a .023 acre gap between the property line of the Ruby Gray Heirs and the Municipal Stadium to the Nash Board of Education. Request a motion to move forward to execute the quitclaim deed. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by
Second.
Councilman Walker, seconded by Councilman Harris.
I just have one question, man. We heard,
Councilman Walker?
we've heard a few individuals come and speak about this, but I think our attorney answered today from what he heard back, but I just wanted to clarify that our voting in this matter does not impede any type of progress or process that Future, I believe it was Future of America, is looking to have. So I just want to make sure that was clear today, that our vote is just our vote on making sure that we convey the land.
What this is, in the 70s, the council and the school board, the then school board, entered into agreement whereby they conveyed the Fannie Gorham School, which is now the Judicial Center, to the city, and the city conveyed the municipal stadium to the school board. The school board owns the municipal stadium now, as we own the Judicial Center. What this seeks to do is, while we agreed to convey them the municipal stadium, we conveyed it, but we didn't convey .023 acres. So that is this is an attempt to clean that up.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there a need for discussion? Yes, Councilman Joyner, then Councilman Knight.
So, is there anything, nothing that we can do anyway, right?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think they're going to sell the property regardless of what you do. I mean, they would like to sell what we should have given them in the 1970s, which is that this just cleans that up.
Councilman Knight.
Yes, Attorney Rose, if you could get us, for council members that want it, whatever information that you obtain from the school board. Mr. Drone and others have been unsuccessful when they made a public records request, and it has not been given to them. So the only recourse I believe they felt that they had was to come to this board to express their grievance in the process and how it was handled. And from their documentation, it appears that something was not correct. But from the documentation you got from the school, you said that everything was.
I think by reopening the thing, and there was bidding on an Arrington group against the Nash County properties, or whatever the successful bidder was. There was an upset bid, and then they'd advertise, they'd rebid, and then there'd be another upset. It went through 6 of those iterations.
Mm-hmm. And the only reason, I'm not going to support it, but the only reason I'm not is because the information that you have, that I asked for, you told us during the council meeting, but it would have been helpful. I would have had it before the council member. I could have shared it with Mr. Drone and the other parties so that they could to look at that timeline to see if they agree. And that's the only reason I'm not going to support it. If I had the information before, it could have been a possibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. All opposed, like sign.
No.
Motion carries. This time I need a motion to go into closed session for attorney-client person. That was made by
And
Joyner and Knight
And personnel.
and personnel.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. We're now in closed session.